What's up guys, Will here and I'm back once again with another Division 2 build video. And today I'm bringing you my Kane Chokeslam build for PvE. And why do I call it so? Because I will lift you up with some huge explosive damage and I will bring you back down to earth with some really nice burn damage. And it is infectious, as you can see in the background. It is creeping death infectious. This is a Brothers of Destruction build. This is really good for PvE. You have such self-sustain on this build and you are dealing crazy DPS due to your primary weapon. Now guys, check this build out. It is crazy for PvE and I recommend you put something like this together because you will thoroughly enjoy working with this. Guys, let's do this. Yes guys, we're back and this is my really fun build for PvE. I'm rolling with this in challenging, heroic, bounties, you name it. This is something I love rolling with in PvE. Everything synergizes perfectly and it's a really nice smooth build to use. And I recommend this in any sort of PvE content other than the raid because you're not tanky enough in all honesty. And I wish you were, but it is strong. You can try in the raid by all means, but guys, I personally wouldn't. Now check this out. I'm in the shooting range. We're just about to go in there now and you can see this is heroic. That's the enemy level you will see this damage at. Now my gloves are not procced. You can see they're blue. What we're going to do, we're just going to pop over here. And you can see we're on very hard, so that's heroic. Yeah, we can just take these NPCs. You see I have some nice armor bars. Now let's just pop my flame turret. Again, we want to proc the BTSU gloves. And just want to see this burn. You say that burn again has procced the BTSU gloves. My gloves have gone from blue to red. Let's just take these bad boys down as well. There's one just there. Let's take this bugger down. Now let's just see how strong the Seekers are with this build. And I'm rolling with the explosive Seeker Mine. Nearly 5 million damage with that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not fantastic. It is good. It could be better, don't get me wrong. But this is the power, the magnitude of this build, and it can be pushed even further. Let's take a look at the build. Here you go guys, I'm rolling with the Nerf gun specialization. Now you can see I have 499 gear score, my offensive stats are 2, my defensive stats are 7 and my utility stats are 8. So you can see I'm not rolling with high 14 or 13 utility stats. This is a very versatile all-round build and in terms of my primary weapon, it has 15.7k base damage, 935 RPM, 274.6k armor, the 70k health, and 3365 skill power. So I'm a little bit over the cap. So I could use a little bit more to go into, again, a different area, maybe more armor or some damage again, just to get my weapon damage up a little bit. So yeah, that's possible on this build. Now, with this, you can see the skills. There is the incinerator turret. We've seen that. We've seen the burn, which is close to 100k before any procs, may I add. And then we have the explosive Seeker Mine, which goes nearly 5 million damage, which is pretty cool, again. So let's take a look at the build. Now, the mask is the China Light Industries Corporation. Now, I'm rolling with that because I want that explosive damage, again, from the Seeker Mine. So that's 10% explosive damage on the build. But then I have 12% skill haste, I have 50% damage to elites, and the talent, which is excellent. Excellent for both sets of skills, which is creeping death. Status effects spread to the nearest enemy within 25 meters. Can occur once every 5 seconds. And we know with a flame turret, you have that continual burn. So that continual burn, again, it's every 5 seconds. This will continually spread to the next enemy. So again, that's more burn, that's more crowd control with this build. So the incinerator turret does work hand in hand with creeping death, and it's a really good utility talent to use on the build. So this is going to spread those effects, and again, you've seen some really good burn damage on this build. So that it's pretty nifty. So creeping death is something I would recommend on this build. Now there's no mods in this particular mask. Now the chest piece. The chest piece is Ultimate Armament. You can see I'm rolling with 20% skill haste, 10% skill power. That's part of the brand set. The attributes are 945 skill power, which is a nice huge chunk, and 18.5% total armor. And the talent, capacitive. Now this is integral that you have capacitive on your build. Why, may I add? Because we all know that the incinerator turret, again, way back when, was nerfed, and then we had that duration, which was about 18-19 seconds once it's burning. In all honesty, it is crap. So capacitive helps the burn last a little bit longer. So you will garner an extra 8, 9, 10 seconds from capacitive. So I fully recommend you roll capacitive somewhere on your build. It's on my chest piece. It doesn't have to be there. It can be anywhere, but I have it here. This is a really nice skill power chest piece I have. So this is something I thoroughly recommend. Now in terms of the mods, I'm rolling with 2 defensive mods. They are armor with 10% explosive resistance on each. So that's 20% explosive resistance. We know that's going to be nades. That's going to get any kind of, that's going to blow me up. So that's that nice explosive resistance. But hazard protection doesn't counter for. So that's something to bear in mind once building. And again, I have a 4% protection from elites as well. Now the utility mod is skill power with increased disrupt duration and burn damage of 3.5%. So it's nice to have that burn damage on the build. By all means, you could switch this up. You could go for something like explosive damage. You have some 4-5% mods. Happy days. You will garner some more damage on the build. But again, it's whatever you got best in slot. Now the holster. The holster is the Roddy Holdings holster. And that's 10% accuracy. And that helps a little bit with my potato aim, in all honesty. So that's 10% accuracy. It also has 710 skill power. Again, that will get me to that 3k elusive skill power I need to unlock all the best mods that I have. The talent destructive, which is 40% explosive damage, and that helps perfectly towards my obviously Seeker Mine, the explosive one that gives me that huge bang for my buck. The mod is weapon damage with 5% assault rifle damage. Again, that's nice to have because you can deal some more damage with your primary weapon. And the holster. The holster is the Fenris Group AB brand set, and that's going to give me 10% AR damage, which is good. And again, I do need that on the build somewhere to give me an extra bit of DPS against any enemies, and that's nice to have. Also, there is 13, 5, 4, 7 health. The 2 talents I have in this slot are hard hitting and patience. Hard hitting is, again, in my opinion, integral. That's 25% damage to elites. You know, you're gonna, in heroic content, that is the bread and butter of the enemies you are facing. So that is really helpful. That's a nice chunk of damage to have. And again, that will synergize with both sets of skills. The Explosive Seeker Mine and your Incinerator Turret. So that hard-hitting talent is key. Also, you need some sustain. You're in heroic content. You need something to keep you alive, as you have only 2 damage skills. So patience works an absolute treat on this build. After being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. Again, that's really good to have. And we know, again, with the technician specialization, once you deploy a skill, you can happily go to chuck your Seeker, or again, you're about to, again, you're just trying to get your turret in a great location to start dealing some damage. Again, you'll get that extra, I think it's 10 or 20% skill power. Sorry, 20% skill power. The extra 20% armor. Again, that gives you a bit more sustain in heroic content. So that's something also to bear in mind. You not only cover generating health, you've also got that little bit of skill power, that little bit of health, that little bit of armor. Sorry, I can't speak. That little bit of armor as well. So that's something to bear in mind. Patience, I feel, works a treat for me to keep me alive longer in heroic content. Every mission you'll see 1 or 2 people go down, and again, you've been that MVP just in cover, and when you need to absolutely burst for NPCs, you're dealing more damage with your weapon, which I'll go through shortly. Now the gloves. The gloves are the BTSU gloves, which we all know what they are. They deal some cracking damage and they synergize perfectly with skills. So BTSU gloves are your go-to or best in slot, may I add, for this build. Now the talents. Elemental Gadgetry, there is Energy Infusion, and Charge Proxies. And in a nutshell, the Energy Infusion, we'll go through this now. You're going to get that 10% skill damage, 10% skill healing and repair, and 10% skill duration. So again, this will synergize with your Seeker Mines. Each utility stat that you have, I have 8, so that's an extra 80% skill damage. If you can put more, and that is more utility stats on this build, it will help you do more skill damage. Of course it will, because of the BTSU gloves. So that's something to really bear in mind or kind of weigh up to see if you can do this on this build. I wanted 6 defensive stats to make sure that Patience is active. I have 7, so I've over-invested by 1. But still, if you can replace that into skills or utility, you're going to have that extra bit of 10% skill damage as well, or healing or repair or duration, all that jazz. Also, that helps the Incinerator as well in terms of duration. So that's something else to bear in mind. Now the mods, skill power with burn damage, skill power, yes, more burn damage, a bit of bleed damage as well, which will help nicely with my explosive Seeker Mines, and armor, explosive resistance, and protection from elites. So that is 30% explosive resistance, and that'll help me a lot in heroic content because you're going to be in cover a lot of the time. And the backpack is the second piece of Alp's Summit Armament, which is again skill haste, skill power. Its health and armor are the key attributes. The talents, perfect tech support. Kills by active skills and explosives grant 30% skill damage for 10 seconds. And hardened, which is an extra 15% armor, which goes really well with the build. So you need to be quite tanky, especially in heroic content. You need at least 250k armor, to really survive and and try to kind of face tank a little bit once the going gets tough and you can do some damage. So that's something to bear in mind. So 250k armor, that's something I'd look at as a base. I'm at 275, so I'm happy with this. It could go higher by all means. Something to bear in mind. And the mods, let's just go through the mods on those. They are skill power, burn damage, and burn duration as well. And skill power, increased bleed duration for my explosive seeker, and burn damage. Cool, we'll take a look at the primary weapon. Yes, you've guessed it, it's the Pyromaniac. And I'm using this because, just look at this talent. Perfectly ignited. Deal 40% weapon damage to burning enemies. After 2 kills, applies burning to the next enemy you hit. Again, 2 kills with this, and then you're going to proc that burn, which is ace, which is really good, because again, that's more damage to more NPCs, elite enemies, etc, etc. So it's a really good talent. It's a crowd control, a status effect talent that will only help you and your teammates. So something to bear in mind. I mean, personally, I feel there's 2 weapons that are perfectly placed for PvE to be absolutely top tier. They are the Pyromaniac and the Pestilence. They are the 2 great skill build weapons that, again, I'll thoroughly recommend, and not to mention on other builds they are very, very strong. I rerolled this to Allegro, and Allegro is amazing for this, an extra 10% rate of fire. So that's something, again, feel free to build this how you wish, but Allegro just works perfectly with Perfectly Ignited. Pardon the pun. Now, stop, drop, and roll. While equipped, rolling removes burning, bleeding, poison status effects, and this can occur once a minute. Again, this is really good, again, if you've got minimal hazard protection, and I have got no hazard protection on the build, so once there's any bleed or poison burn, just roll, and it's gone, So that's something to bear in mind. Now the mods are accuracy, rounds, critical chance, and damage to elites. And the secondary weapon, I'm using that just because of the holster talent, which is rooted. While equipped and in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds. Buff is lost when next in cover. Can occur once per minute. They're the mods, but again, I only use it for rooted. And again, same as the sidearm, it is 93R, and I'm using that for in rhythm. While equipped, enemy kills have 5% chance to refresh active skill cooldowns. Can occur once every 60 seconds. Again, this can be your weapon or this can be your skills. It doesn't have to be your turret or your seekers. You've got 5% chance while taking an enemy to get your skills back. Something to bear in mind, I like this, and this procs more than you know. It's a really good talent to have on the build. Now the skills, we'll start with the secondary skill. It's Explosive Seeker Mine. It has a cooldown of 15.8 seconds, which could be a little bit better, admittedly so. And I have 1 million plus damage base on this. Again, this could be better. Depends how you want to roll with it. You can lower your cooldown, put some more damage on there, or again, you have that nice 15.8 seconds. I mean, personally, I like it with this build and heroic because I want my skills back as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, the mods, they're skill haste, damage, and more damage. You see, I have two really good mods, and I have an okay one at 89.8%. And the primary skill is the Incinerator Turret. That's got a 24.1 second cooldown. We know we dismantle it, we get 12 seconds, so we halve that time. Range 15 meters, the damage 3221, ignore that. The burn damage 22569. And again, against elite enemies, you're going to get a lot more damage than that. Duration is 9.8 seconds. And in terms of the mods, as you can see, I have 3 nice mods. And I've opted for burn strength, 94.8%, skill haste, and more skill haste. You could opt for damage as an option. That is a possibility. However, I've opted for skill haste because I want to use my turret as often as possible. As it is, again, what's going to proc the BTSU gloves most for me, in my opinion, and also works synergized exceptionally well with Creeping Death. So I want to use it as often as possible. Not to mention you've got the talent, the pyromaniac talent on your AR that's going to proc, again, that extra damage through the explosive or the burn as such. So that's something to bear in mind. I like this. I like the skill haste with this setup. By all means, try extra damage if you wish. It is entirely up to you. And then we'll go through the stats. Now the stats, we'll just take a look. We know the gear and weapon talents. 15685 weapon damage. It's 5% critic chance. 25% critic damage. Headshot damage 55%. And then the all weapons damage bonus, a really good 1%, guys. That's going to cause some major damage. Trust me, it will. 30% AR damage, and that's nice. And 80% damage to elites. And also health damage of 29%. In terms of health damage, again, that will coincide with your Seeker Mines. Again, you'll be dealing more damage to, again, elite enemies when their armor has been wrenched. So that, again, you get extra 29% health damage. And also that really transfers to your Seeker Mines. That will do more damage. So Seeker Mines and ARs, they go hand in hand. So that's something, again, to bear in mind once building your build together. That's something to bear in mind. So 50% explosive damage, and that's really cool. And that's a 10% from Channel Light, 40% from Destructive. If you have mods as well, slap those on. You can get this quite easily to about 70%. Quite easily, that is, as well. So that's, again, if you prefer to. I've gone for burn, but that's just me. And we've seen all the talents. Creeping Death does work so well on this build. Again, it just spreads the burn like wildfire. So it's something I would highly recommend. 275k armor, 70k max health, armor health regen of 35k, some explosive resistance 30%, and that's nice in, yes, of course, that is nice in heroic content. I really enjoy it. But this is my build for PvE. This is the Kane Chokeslam build because explosive damage is going to just lift them up and you're going to burn their ass off because you're dealing some crazy burn damage on this build. I love it. I really do. Creeping Death, try it. It's ace. And it synergizes really well with status effect skills. But guys, as always, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you want to see more Division 2 content, smash and bang that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.